Hello guys, hi.
Hi,
This is
Tomasz.
like an open format, fireside. The event is coming to the end, so we decided to put to the end a kind of a free fire chat to discuss the future of this format, to rate the event. So guys, how do you overall rate this event? How did you like today?
Well, I guess Mike maybe should have the most to say because I'm actually part of the events. So
Yeah,
maybe-
everybody know Maciek. I will introduce myself, and my name is Tomasz Orzechowski, and I'm producing today's event
Right.
together with our partner Mike from Wolves Digital, who is a Hopin preferred partner for CE.
Yeah, thank you, Tomek. So my name is Mike Chaffe, CEO of Wolf Summit and Wolf Digital. We've been working with Tomek and his organisation for the last 1 year, is it? Over a year?
Over 2 years, like different stuff.
Over nearly 2 years, and we've hosted around 6 events together now. So we're really happy to continue that relationship and be hosting this event from Poznan today. So obviously both of us are going to be quite biased in our feedback from the event, but what you mentioned about the whole move to, how hybrid events, virtual events now have become, really part and parcel of an event organizer's arsenal. I think it would be great to chat more about how we see that progressing next year, and how us and you have, navigated the virtual event world over the last 2 years.
And one thing that I can say about this very event, about positive technologies, and by the way, thank you for inviting me over here. But I just wanted to say that something that's really nice is that you guys as the organizers have invited so many great people, very versatile personalities, and there's been people from around the world, from the USA, and the chat has been going very well, and I hear that the cybersecurity stage was quite popular.
Thank you. This is like one of these positive sides of the hybrid virtual events.
Right.
You can expand your potential speaker list. With this event, we have like 12 international speakers from 8 countries.
Right.
Obviously, you can make it offline, but it will take a lot of more money, passion, and energy to make it happen. Over the 50 speakers, 12 international speakers, I think 5 or 6 were from USA. So, like cutting traveling costs. I think, we need to focus on how we see the future, because in many comments I can see people saying like, hopefully we meet next year offline. Myself,
I hear
my
that a lot.
opinion, my opinion on that is like there is no comeback to 2019. There is no way back, no turn back, and the future is hybrid. How do you see the future? What's your comment on that?
Yeah, so just actually, here's one I made earlier. So 3 weeks ago, we finished, we wrapped up our hybrid Wolf Summit event. So that was around 2,100 total attendees, 500 people physically.
Great job.
Yeah, thanks. It exceeded all expectations, and we had around 500 people physically in Wrocław, and then the rest of the attendees were all online. But I think that, certainly hybrid is going to be the preferred route for us, speaking about our organization. And, my advice to any other event organizers is that, you should actively pursue a hybrid strategy, because for the reasons that you mentioned, Tomek, you can have a much more geographically broad reach of speakers, and you allow the audience to dial in from all corners of the globe, which would, you'd never have been able to achieve in a traditional event format.
And having the audience dial in, just like you said, is something that I'm personally hoping for, because I hope to hear more from the other side, like from our audience, from the viewers. This is something that really is of my interest, and I truly believe in that. If we have some genuine interaction, that is great. And actually, I think you, Tomek, had the chance to try networking, which was like the computer will randomly assign you with a partner. How did that go for you?
Well, I really like it. I do love networking, and do it in real world. However, with this format, there are many advantages. First of all, for example, like if you attend a classical event and then you share business cards with people, and me personally, in most of cases, I lost many of this business card leaving at the office,
That's
home,
what happens.
and it's really tough to come back and give a feedback. And I really do believe in a feedback culture. With this format, I have this digital tracking. I can easily check to whom I have spoken, and then come back with my feedback, with the greetings, with business proposal, whatever. Like, it takes, I see so many chances in this format, but I'm like super online optimistic. I like by profession, I'm a digital marketing manager.
Right.
So I brief digital.
Well, actually, Team Wolf Summit says they're watching and they are saying hi. So that's Monica from your team.
Okay, great. Hi, Monica. Good to have you with us from the crowd.
And actually, interactions is something that I look for very much, and engagement, and actually some feeling of equality. I feel like that's important, not just for the people of Poznań and the city of Poznań, because we're all about tolerance, open-mindedness. So that's something that I cherish for sure. And actually, one of the interesting things that I've noticed, I think we talked about it today, Mike, is that if you have your audience online, especially in Poland, you will have much more interaction with the audience, much more compared to live traditional events. Because I don't know if you agree with that, but Polish audiences tend to be shy. And they don't really like to speak out, especially if you give them the mic, they will freak out. Yeah. But if they can just comment on the chat and write some messages, that's when they finally start to open up.
Yeah, and I agree, and we clearly see it in the, over the number of events that we've hosted, we see much more interaction in the virtual format. We've had the occasional keyboard warrior who has to get, muted or eventually kicked out of the event, but
some, what do you call that? Attention seeker, what's the word?
I mean, like, slang is keyboard warrior, but attention seekers.
Keyboard warrior, I like that.
But yeah, no, for 99% of the time, you have really great interaction with the audience. And, I think, like you say, it's, just logically being sat in your front room or your home office, you're going to feel much more comfortable to contribute to the debate that's raging on the screen in front of you. Whereas in a live setting, social anxiety and stuff, people can struggle to feel, like they want to put their hand up and get the microphone over, and then they have to, worry about how they sound. And
because it feels much more natural. And actually, on that note, I just wanted to say that to me, out of our three, you are the most relatable in here, because the way you look is actually an advantage to me. I don't want to refer to what you look like from the views perspective, but then honestly, when people see you look the way that they look in front of their screens, you are much more natural. And then I'm coming from the emceeing world, so it's hard for me not to wear these clothes, but I feel like I would be much more friendly appearing if I had just a hoodie, just like Mike has.
Yeah, and I mean, I can do both. Last week I was in Berlin at a large private equity event, and it was suits. I didn't wear a tie because, the only time I would ever wear a tie is if I'm getting dragged down the aisle to get married.
Oh,
so
I see that.
But I basically, as close to formal as I could be, was that was the dress code for the event. But you feel stiff, and everything feels unnatural. So virtual events for me, where you can sit in front of your laptop in a comfortable outfit, and have a virtual meeting with a C-level exec at a relevant client company, and it makes people that much more approachable. And the relationships are actually stronger because, when you've spoken to the MD of a major, Fortune 500 company, and you've both been in T-shirts and baseball caps, it's
I like that.
It breaks down the barriers from my perspective.
Unless you are Mark Zuckerberg. This is fine.
Yeah.
He's free to do that anytime.
Maciej, maybe you also can share some of your experiences here, because you crossed so many events like last year as a professional MC. Mm-hmm. How do you think, is this format related? Is this format proper for any kind of audience? Because what I think, like, you can check how much tech savvy is your audience, how much they are aware of social media, and different branches they do adopt, but with like a different time. Slots, time, speed, but they do adopt. What do you think of that? What are your experiences here?
Well, I'd be glad to hear from Mike, but like one of my perspectives is that if you have an event for IT people, then Hopin is the perfect solution because you have so many features here and it's just perfect because it's so versatile. But then if you just want a conference that's for people who are just starting in some certain businesses, or maybe for people who are 50 plus, and again, I'm not trying to make any age divisions, but I'm just generally saying that those people might be less tech savvy, then I feel like Facebook live video and YouTube live video would be a better choice than a platform where you have to register and all of that, because that's a little bit more painful, right?
Yeah, could be, but like, look at that. This event we do house with the city of Poznań,
right,
which is a mayor office, the office. You do collaborate with the city of Wrocław, and I did collaborated many times with the city of Krakow. So cities, they seem to be conservative, and but they are not. The times are changing, and they are coming like in front of the line. So this is really optimistic. What do you think?
Well, tell me, Mike, because when I mentioned the YouTube video and Facebook video, I guess you have also your perspective on the different platforms.
Yeah, so we always, religiously use Hopin, whether it's for
religiously, right?
Yeah, I mean, because we've been using them so long now, since March of 2020. What we do, however, so if we take our event as an example, the first few sessions of the investor evening on the first day, we broadcast to YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook as a live release, just to drive some interest and more engagement before the start. So I think when you take a multi-pronged approach to driving engagement, that's the answer. But just to, like you said, I think YouTube has a place, as well as LinkedIn interviews and broadcasts also have their own place. But we would always have the likes of Hopin as our back-end solution. And
there's some huge advantage for an event organizer that comes together with a platform like Hopin. Because if you organize an event, a live event, just a physical event, there's so much less that you know about your viewers, because all they say is just a declaration, like that you like the event, and then they will give you a grade from 1 to 10. But then if you have Hopin, I guess you can sometimes even know like what was the dropout rate, and like at which point did they leave the show, and what probably was the less interesting part of it.
Yeah, exactly. And we can pull all of this data out of the event within hours of it finishing, so I can tell you. Yeah, I can tell you off the top of my head, between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is prime time. After that, viewership levels really drop. And then the level of interaction by each attendee, the data sets that we can glean from each event. So Tomek will receive a full report from Rosie by next week.
That's cool.
Rosie, by next week. And from that we'll be able to see exactly which partners had the most engagement, which parts of the agenda had the highest viewership. And sponsors love it. So when we wrapped up our own event and sent the finalized reports over to sponsors and partners, they absolutely lap it up, because these type of insights you cannot get from a physical event. Exactly. Unless you invest highly into a lot of like motion sensor equipment, etc. But it still doesn't come close to what's available from a virtual platform.
Sounds good to me.
We do today's event really do track it, and I already know. Thank you, but I already know because I'm tracking it myself here, and we do the evaluation. So I really appreciate with kind of crowd, which is an IT crowd, which is not so much chatty. I do appreciate that so many people involved in the survey, and they gave us feedback, because we do need to work on feedback. We do need to work agile way. We need to improve. So thank you very much for everyone who is sharing their comments, who is giving us a proper feedback, not just rating us. Just people are contacting ourselves on the chat, on the private messages, and there is a professional survey company who does the survey on this event to improve the format for the next year. So I think that is like a light in the tunnel that will show us if we go more offline, more online, but I
Right.
do bet this will stay hybrid.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful to you, Tomasz, for just saying that it doesn't really make sense to say, oh, hopefully we will all meet in person and we will not have to use any of these digital tools next year, because hybrid is such a great solution. And sometimes virtual is just better. You don't even need hybrid. I'm also very much hoping for the in-person meetings, and that will be coming back for sure. But then there are some things that we've learned with the virtual world, and there are some people that we would never have been able to meet if it hadn't been for virtual, right?
This is it. This is it. Like back in the day, to meet CEOs, CTOs,
Right.
I was waiting in a line for a month or two to be appointed. Here, like I can talk to a CTO of Spotify, like next day, having a chat on Zoom, having a chat on
Yeah, that's
Google
true.
Meet. This is great. We will meet in the person, like in person. However, if we can take shortcuts, especially in business, because life is not just about business. Let's take shortcuts.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think, I honestly believe like 80% plus of any traditional events, conferences, trade fairs, they could be organized even more efficiently purely as a virtual or hybrid event. I think there's still sectors in the event industry where it lends itself towards very personal relationships.
Like networking.
Yeah, like
Or
yeah.
integration, when you have your team, you want some team building. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, or if there's really high value transactions where, you know, the buy side and sell side need
That's
to
for sure.
physically meet. But again, I really believe 80% plus of conferences can run just as or even more efficiently in a virtual or hybrid environment.
Yeah, that speaks volumes to me. And so we've talked about how we enjoy this cooperation. So what do you think, Tomasz, as the producer?
Oh,
Are you glad with our work?
yeah, thank you guys. And it was really nice to partner with you, Maciek, for the first time
My pleasure.
with this event. And again, partner up with
Pleasure.
you.
Pleasure as always.
A great pleasure. And thank you everyone for attending today's event, like especially our international guests, our partners. We do appreciate the support, especially in this really, really booming environment which IT and tech world is, and also the startup world where we do work together in the startup world. This is like changing day to day. So we need our day-to-day approach, and we need to improve ourselves and improve the formats. And this is where we are, like we are in it, and we stick to this and just make the step forward. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so very much.
Thanks so much. Thanks.